Hey, it's me. Good evening, everybody. Hopefully, good evening, everybody. A little bit of a sticky thing at the beginning there, which I didn't know what the hell was going on, but managed to resolve it. I don't think anyone's looking anyway at the moment, so it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
So I can't see any. Hang on, no, there's nobody. There's nobody watching at the moment, Craig.
All
So
right.
so we can talk amongst ourselves until I see somebody's watching.
Okay.
Um,
Is it meant to come up on my Facebook? I'm just looking
Oh, here's
here.
here's Aaron's just turned up. Good evening, Aaron.
Oh, good. So it's on.
We did Aaron last week, so to speak.
All right. Well,
Uh,
I should have been here to watch him.
you
I
should.
feel bad now.
Well, so you should. But you're not actually here yet, because
No.
I haven't introduced you yet. But I will now, as Aaron's turned up. This evening, ladies and gentlemen, or this evening, gentlemen. Oh yes, you can watch the replay, as he quite rightly said, of his interview. It was very entertaining.
I will definitely do that.
So there's no excuse.
But I did
now.
start to watch it earlier. I was checking things out.
Gareth, someone's just asked me, is my musings finished? No, it's just started, Gareth. Who's he anyway? Bear with a second, folks, because I'm so popular. Just started. I'll tell you, because he wanted to join in on this, Craig, because his son was one of those voices that you go with, and voices.
Oh, cool.
So
Excellent.
okay, so I'd like to introduce tonight, ladies and gentlemen, all the way from his computer, and oh look, there's somebody doing it again. What is it? What is everyone? What is it? Anyway, we'll forget about that. All the way from his computer and joining us on mine, please put your hands together and welcome Craig McLeish. There we go. There you are, Craig. Oh, you've gone all fuzzy.
Yes, I have, haven't I? I wasn't fuzzy a bit earlier when we.
No, you weren't. You've gone fuzzy now, though. What's happened? Still, can't be fuzzy. You can't be fuzzy, can you? So,
Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear.
probably. So we're introducing Craig tonight to join our little chat session, and I only got to know Craig probably 4 years ago. I don't think I'd met you before then. What's happened to your camera? His camera's gone all.
It's terrible, isn't it? It's a good. I mean, people could switch it off and just listen because there's no point in looking at that. It's,
Oh, it's
why
horrible,
is it
isn't it?
so bad?
I don't know.
Shall I go off and come on again? I don't know. People
Oh.
seem to be doing that all the time tonight.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess you could try going off and coming
I
on.
could
again.
try it. It only takes a few seconds, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, you go off, and I'll entertain the crowd,
Talk amongst yourself.
or one of them. Off you go then. Off you toddle,
Bye-bye.
and bye-bye.
Leave sight.
There you go. Are you still there, Aaron? We don't just throw this together, you know. This is carefully planned over several weeks, months even, months. I'll just have a little drink. Can take a minute to settle. It was fine earlier. Absolutely fine earlier, clear as day. But that's all right. What speed internet do I have? Oh, about 30 megabits. Usually plenty. And it was his camera that was the problem. Go on, Craig. He's gone. He's gone. He's not coming back. He's oh my god. Oh, there he goes. Here we go. How's this? Right. Are you there? Right, you're in the green room. How do you get out of the green room?
Oh,
Oh, there you go. Oi.
it's a bit better.
That's better, isn't it?
It's a little better.
Yeah, it is.
It's not as good as you.
Clearer.
You're crystal clear. You're in
I-
glorious Technicolor.
Yeah, I know. This is how I look. Normally, I'm in black and white. If you come around my house, you'll see me. I'm in black and white.
Is that because you're so old?
Yes. Well, thank you, Craig, and it's been a pleasure
Wow.
having you tonight. Anyway, we
I need to get off.
must you go so soon? So yeah, what I was saying, I think it was only about 4 years ago, or was it longer than that we first met? When did we first meet? When we came and did the Living Archive band did a
Yes.
concert with you.
We've done that twice, haven't we?
We have,
had
yeah.
the Living Archive twice with the Milton Keynes Community Choir, and we were celebrating the 50th year of Milton Keynes
Mm-hmm.
and the book of the Living Archive songs, which I was very honoured to be asked to help write out,
Right.
write the tunes down. Ah, yes. This is. I don't think the Facebook thing is on, but anyway, if YouTube is on, maybe that's fine.
YouTube's on, yeah. Facebook is on, but where is it? That's the thing. Where is it on Facebook? It's on Musing for Musicians. That's where it is, not on my
Yes.
page. It's got to be there somewhere.
Well, I've got that page on, and I can't see it.
What, Musing for Musicians?
Yes.
Oh. How strange.
There's the advert for it. Just here we go. I'll click on the link, and it's just the page. There's nothing live there at the moment.
Well, I've got it on mine.
Okay,
Let me
I'll
just,
ignore that then.
yeah, I can see it on my Facebook. Let me just copy that and copy.
I probably need a link or some sort of.
If I put it in the link up here, this should come up on the YouTube, on my page here. Can only see a potter's wheel on Facebook. Well, that was the beginning of it, and I had to stop that one, Chris, because it was going to the wrong place. So it's gone to the new one. I've posted it on the. This is all exciting, isn't it, for everybody? I'm sure you can't wait to.
Evolving live in front of our very eyes.
Let me just post. Oi. Let me just paste it on my page. Hang on.
Shall I go sit in the green room for a couple of minutes?
Yeah. Just amuse yourself with the canapes.
Oh yeah,
They're processed. I hope you don't mind a can of processed pays.
canapes.
Did you see what I did there?
Canapes.
Canapes. Right. I'm going to post it on my page in Facebook and see if everyone goes it from there. There you go. It's on there. Let's see what happens. Anyway, well, there's plenty of people can watch it on YouTube.
There
Right.
you go.
And that's Chris. I guess, is that you, Chris Mitchell? It looks great. Chrism 8063. It's a bit oblique, isn't it? Anyway, so let's just carry on, and we'll find out who was chatting to me and who was chatting to you, and I don't know. Anyway, so 4 years ago when we did that, where was we? We were talking about the concert that we did, the first
It was
concert.
a lovely concert. Yeah, we did a couple of them, and it was wonderful.
We did a summer one and we did a Christmas one, didn't we?
Summer and Christmas, yeah. And we learnt some extra harmonies to your songs, and had the choir coming in on the choruses of quite a few of your songs, the funny ones and the sort of serious ones and the war ones and the train ones and the transport and all that stuff. Such a great variety of stuff you involved with.
It was a lovely experience. We've never sung with that many people before, and I think the choir did us justice. It was just great.
It was lovely to have you as well.
Yeah,
It's great to have special guests, especially local ones.
Yeah. So choir things has been your thing really from the very early days, from when you was a mere slip of a lad.
Definitely a slip, yeah. Yes, choirs have been very much a big part of my life, shall we say.
Yeah.
Since I was about 7, I suppose.
And I think if I look close enough, I might have a picture of there. Oh no, that wasn't.
Ooh, that's a bit before. That's
bit
before.
before
choir.
that one, was it?
That was the last time I had white hair. Was that when I was about 3?
Oh,
Now I've got white hair again.
Oh, I'm just trying to
What
find
are
the
you
one.
looking for?
Where is it? That picture of you is in the choir when you was there. You go.
There we go. I'm a bit older than I'm 13 then. I'm head boy at the Silver Jubilee service, 1977. That's me with the glasses on the end there.
Is it really?
So that's my dad took a picture of the telly.
Oh yeah.
We were on, you can see
You
it's
couldn't tell.
grainy,
It is.
and you can see the reflection of the window.
Yeah, yeah. Where was this?
Yeah, that's
Westminster.
that's St Paul's Cathedral on the 1977 Queen's Silver Jubilee service,
Wow.
which was my final year there actually.
Yeah.
So I did five years from age 7 to 12.
And the most important thing about being there was playing cricket, I believe, from what you
Well,
told me earlier.
Cricket came into it, yes. The singing was the major part. Let's be honest, it was a lot of singing. I had to sing 2 or 3 times a day for 5 years.
Really?
There wasn't much holiday. Yeah. It's a service nearly every day. The only day we didn't do a service was Thursday. 3 services on a Sunday, 2 on a Saturday, and 1 every day, but not Thursday. Thursday was the cricket day, so when we went off to play sports, and that was great. Good to have time off.
Wow.
And Top of the Pops in the evening.
Top of the Pops?
Yeah, we watched Top of the Pops.
Oh, I see. I thought you went on Top of the Pops. I don't remember,
Well,
remember any
no,
choirs.
never on it.
No.
I think after I left, a lot of the boys they did some more commercial stuff, and some of them went on Russell Harty and Wogan, and my little brother, younger brother, he's not little anymore. He's 7 years younger than me. He earned all the money because they did lots of sort of TV and stuff. But that was after me. We set it up for him.
Yeah, you laid the foundation.
It was an amazing time of sort of singing and being immersed in music, and the sort of, in a place like that. It's stayed with me.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's. I mean, if it's something that you really want to do, and I guess you
Well,
really
I didn't know I wanted to do it.
No, but
I was 7 years old. What do you want?
No,
you don't know what you want when you're 7, do you?
Yeah, I suppose not. No. Yes.
No, I didn't know. There's some woman at my some teacher at my school heard me sing the hymns in assembly,
Hmm.
and she knew my godmother and said, "Oh, tell his mum that they should audition for St Paul's Cathedral." So I did, and I got in. I didn't audition for any other choirs. It was just that one.
Where were you living then?
South East London, sort of Petswood, Orpington,
Okay.
the edge of London there.
Yes. Yeah.
So for 5 years we lived at the school next to the cathedral. I was boarding from age 7. So
yeah.
my mum and dad dropped me and then just went away with their heads hanging. So what have we done? Left him in this. So there's only 38 boys in this whole school. 30 singers and 8 probationers. So for a year you're a probationer. It's very Tom Brown school days at the beginning. It was still quite old fashioned in those days.
Yeah, of course.
The sort of set up,
What year was this? What were you talking about without giving away too much?
1972.
1972.
That's when I got in.
At 7.
At 7.
Yeah.
7 and a half, 8 years old, yeah.
So he was born in 65 then. 65-ish? Yeah, okay.
60, yeah.
Oh, Chris says he's a Dartford boy originally.
Dartford, yes, just up the road.
Yeah, Kent, yeah.
Excellent.
That's Chris Mitchell, by the way.
Hi, Chris. How you doing?
He's doing all right, isn't he?
He's all right if he's from Dartford.
Yeah.
I used to cycle up there sometimes.
So that obviously you did all your norm as well as being a wouldn't call it a choir. Would you call it a choir school?
Yeah, it was a choir school. Yes,
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was. Yes, it was one of the only schools that were just for a choir in those days. There aren't many now. They're normally they've all grown and they've got other pupils there who aren't singers. But it was just a choir school, and we played cricket and football against all the other choir schools.
Ah.
And it was a bit tooth and nail.
Oh. Excuse me, I'm just
Westminster Abbey, the old enemy, will always be.
Isn't it funny, isn't it? You don't think of it. You don't think of the sort of that competition type thing with choirs.
Yeah, we did one. We used to sing one service with them. They were horrible. They never used to speak to us. And if we went anywhere in London, we held our noses going past St James's Park. It was a school tradition to not breathe as you. I don't know. They were just the same as us, really.
Yeah.
But, big rivalry.
Did you obviously you had your normal school curriculum as such?
Yes. Yeah. Lessons as well, and teachers, and geography, history, science. Incredible science teacher. Used to just make explosions every day. Peter Salmon just literally to set things on fire. That was our chemistry lesson. And we learned Latin as well, and English, and all everything. Yeah.
And at the end of the time of being at school, what was expected, and what was the normal thing when you came to leave or move on or go to university or college or whatever?
A good question. Well, though, when you leave, when your voice breaks, when you've had 5 years. I was a friend of mine. His voice broke with a year to go, and no one knew he sang bass for a year. He was still in the choir, Andrew Carr. And they sort of said, "I think you should leave." And no, I left. And then what you'd normally get is you try and get to a school that had music involved. And I got a music scholarship to a few places. I went to Dulwich College. Didn't like it massively, I must admit. It didn't suit me massively, but it was all right. There were lots of lots of amazing things there. Did the most music that I learned at that school was probably the non-curricular stuff. I sort of got into bands, and taught myself the guitar and did rock and stuff. That was the fun thing at school, and that was for another sort of 5 years. And then it was university and wondering what to do. I did very little careers advice. In fact, nil. Nobody convinced me that I could make a career out of music. But I did do music at university. But only because somebody who I met, I tried to get into Cambridge, doing a choral scholarship at Cambridge, tried to get into French, and had probably the worst French interview anyone has ever given, ever, in the history of French interviews. So I went into this college, this guy, this Don, with the little spectacles on his nose, huge nose, little spectacles, come in, and all the sort of the books and everything, wizened old thing, got in, and he started spouting. I mean, I got an A in French at A level. I was taught how to pass French A level, so I thought I was all right. And I thought, well, I'll do music as a hobby, and I'll do something academic. And so he started speaking to me. I said, I'm ever so sorry, I don't understand a word you said. And I didn't speak any French at all in this interview. He was speaking French. I spoke English. I said, "I'm sorry, I don't understand that." I think it lasted 5 minutes, and I was out the door. So I then realised that's probably not the best thing to try. But luckily, the same day, I think I went to St Cat's College and met a wonderful chap called Peter Lahoure, and I owe everything to him because sadly he's no longer with us. He left us quite soon after that. And he was an editor. I knew his name because he used to edit all the wonderful Byrd and Purcell anthems and services that we'd sung. I used to see his name. He'd go into the British Museum, find the manuscripts and edit them and publish them. So he was a proper muso chap, knew his choral stuff. I played him some organ pieces, showed him some compositions and sang to him. And he said, "Right, first off, don't do French, do music. Secondly, don't do it here, you'll hate it. Go somewhere like York. Bye." So I tried to get into York, and I did, and it was fantastic. So York was my place of university, and they had a guy called Wilf Mellers there who had sort of revolutionised the music department there, and made it very practical. So it was all more about doing music than talking and writing about it, which suited me fine. And there was a few things to write, but it was basically an amazing place where we played jazz, big band jazz. We did African songs, Javanese gamelan, orchestra, choirs, electronic music, viols and Renaissance stuff, just everything.
So had you picked up an instrument by this time then and learned to do something?
I had played piano since I was 5, sort of adequately. I sort of lurched to grade 6-ish. Did violin and played a bit of viola at university because they didn't have any violas, so I did a bit of that. But sort of back desk. my main instrument was always my voice, I think. So I entered as a singer, so I did the grades and was a singer and conducted and composed. So singer, conducting, composing, that was kind of my instrument, I suppose, if you like. And anything guitar and bassy was kind of on the side, self-taught, mucking about with bands and things. So yeah, it's all gradually evolved, all these little areas, and met some amazing musicians.
And
some of whom I'm still in touch with.
On that note, would you like to give us a song?
Oh, a song right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, lovely. Well, a few years after I'm going to leap ahead and do a song that I wrote for Fat and Frantic, because that's when I honed my writing skills. So I'm just going to.
Fat and Frantic. I'm
not sure I'll be able to play with the headphone on.
I don't know if I've got an image of them.
So that's the cricket on the beach.
Yeah, I was seeing if I had an image for Fat and Frantic. There we go.
That's right. That was the early days. That's sort of 1987, when we didn't have a drummer. We had a washboard player. You can see him there. He's had an electric washboard pickup on it and played with hard thimbles. I'm on the bass there at the end, and that's Fat there with the guitar, and Jim, who was usually airborne. So it's quite a good representation.
That's quite a leap, that, isn't it? That's not.
It is. Well, he made a point of leaping off every speaker stack of every place we did a gig in, which included Town and Country and Astoria, so some quite high speaker stacks. He would do that. Right, I'm going to do a song that got to number 103 in the charts. Followed up on our other song, which has got to number 101. We've never hit the top 100. But anyway, there's a story behind that. I'll tell you in a minute. I'll sing this to you. This is my ballad version. It was more of a sort of House Martinsy song when it came out. It's called I Don't Want to Say Goodbye. I met you easily, I kissed you in a day. The way you looked at me was all you had to say. I never worked so hard when you walked by. I never ran so fast, I seemed to fly. And I don't want to come down. And I don't want to say goodbye this time. Please don't ask me for a reason why. But I know for sure it would be a crime to deny that I'll be with you always. I'll be with you always. I'll be with you always. You told me time has wings, the precious moments fly. The joys of early days become the tears of goodbye. Was that a warning not to move too fast? 'Cause it's poetic, but it's in the past. And I want to stay with you. And I don't want to say goodbye this time. Please don't ask me for a reason why. But I know for sure it would be a crime to deny that I'll be with you always. I'll be with you always. I'll be with you always. I'll be with you always.
Lovely. Very nice. Very nice
Get
indeed.
my headphones back in.
I think he deserves one of these, doesn't it?
So when you sang that live on Going Live with Philip Schofield and Sarah Green,
Yeah.
but we were going to be live, and then suddenly they phoned us in the morning and said, "Oh, we've got George Michael. Can you mime your song, please?" So all right, fine, yes. So, but anyway, made sure the manager had the right mix of the DAT. Of course, he gave him the wrong one because I'd religiously learnt the morning all where I'd taken the breaths and the lead vocals, so to make it look like I wasn't miming. I was determined that people wouldn't think I was miming because I gave them the wrong mix and all the breaths in the wrong place. I hadn't learnt it. It looked terrible.
Oh no.
So my cover was blown totally. Yeah, but that's because we were independent and unsigned. So
Yeah.
we got shoved to the bottom of the park. Was called George Michael. Came. Didn't meet him, of course. He was just on the program at another time.
Aaron says, are these appearances on YouTube?
The appearances of there's a
Going
couple
live, yeah.
I don't know about Going Live. It's very old. That we're on an a cappella thing with David and Cary Grant, which is around '94. There's something, if you search for that, that's an a cappella thing, and we do a little spoof where they're all wearing Buddy Holly glasses in black and white. They got no glass in the end. They were just frames. Anyway, that's later. It was fun. We were told we were the cross between Madness and the House Martins on speed. And we used to play very fast, skiffle, or rather punk skiffle, or piffle.
Piffle.
Actually. That was the genre that we invented.
Well, we'll skip to. Well, I have got some footage, Aaron, of Fat and Frantic, but we'll do that
Aaron's
a little bit
curious. Is he curious to see some of this stuff?
He is, yeah. And but we'll do it. We'll have a look later on, and
Okay.
because we did jump ahead there because I wanted a song there to break it up a bit, which was
That's
very
all right.
very lovely song, mate. Thank you. So we've gone to university now at York.
Yes.
And you were a guest there how long? 5 years?
At York, only 3 years. 3 years
Okay.
at York, and then a year at Guildhall in London. Yeah, so it was over very quick.
Yeah.
But
And
packed it in.
Did you did you sort of after hang on, Going Live reminds me of years gone by. Those were the days. Yeah, yes, Aaron. Aaron lives in New York now, and is
Oh right.
a musician, singing musician out there. And
Excellent, Aaron.
when we were all gigging, he was telling me, or telling us last week that the gigs he was doing, because when we're doing gigs over here, we do 2 45-minute spots. Theirs
Yeah.
tends to be 6 hours. So
6 hours?
apparently, yes.
People stay that long?
These are in bars, and it's it's completely different. I suppose I could play for 6 hours. I don't think I'd want to, but yeah. Blue Peter, yes, Blue. So you're not from Suffolk, are you originally, Craig? Because
Suffolk?
Yeah.
No, but we had holidays in Suffolk.
Okay, it's all right. We've just got too many Suffolk people on here. Aaron's
Oh, no,
originally
we used to go. Well, this is an little. I'll just say a little thing, an early musical memory, because my mum's parents lived next door to Benjamin Britten in Aldborough in Golf Lane.
All right, yeah.
And I remember being like 4 or 5 years old and lying on the grass in my granny's lawn, looking up at the sky and hearing an orchestra practicing in his garden. He used to get orchestras in his garden.
Did he really? Wow.
Yeah. So that was an amazing sort of remembrance.
The reason I asked
From
is
my-
because Aaron comes from Suffolk originally, and Clive, who was on the first week, he's also
does
from.
he?
He's also
Well, hopefully
from
they'll
Suffolk.
both know. They'll both know Aldborough and the Mere at Thorpe Ness, where we just went boating on the Mere. If anyone knows Suffolk, they should know the Mere at Thorpe Ness.
Yeah, not
That's my childhood.
not as posh. He comes from Leiston, which is not as posh as Aldbury, says there. I'm not quite sure where Leiston is.
Somewhere inland.
Yeah, it's not by the sea, is it? No, don't think so.
Don't think so. I don't know it that well.
No. Well, who would? I mean, Suffolk.
Edward Woodward.
Woodward. Leiston. Oh, okay. Leiston. I said Leiston. You say Leiston. I say Leiston. Let's call the whole thing off.
Let's call it Leiston.
So from university, I guess you
Yes.
had to get a proper job then, did you?
Well, again, you see, not much advice. I sort of just thought, what am I going to do? What can I do? I can sing. I can sing a madrigal, and I can play a bit of lute. So I went down, did this thing called the early music course, which was at the Guildhall. So at the Guildhall, you got the jazz people, you got the drama people, you got proper singers and instrumentalists and everything, and then the early music. It's about 10 of us, and we had about three lessons a week. It was a rubbish course,
Oh,
and the lecturers didn't often turn up, and lecturer. I shouldn't say. There's another way to say lecturer, because they were a bit like that.
lectures, yeah.
Yeah, but it was just a really good way of getting into London and having a year. And I cut my teeth on a few things while I was there. A bit of singing in choirs, singing in churches, getting paid for. So I went back to St Paul's. So now I'm a gentleman. I'm singing alto and tenor and getting paid £22.50 for doing an evensong. Didn't used to get that when you were a boy. I'd say that.
No.
But so that was good. And then the other thing I got into, because I was always writing, arranging, wanting to sort of get into that world, and I met a guy who said, "Oh, you should meet this guy George Bamford." So George Bamford was the sort of Svengali of musical copyists. This is all pre-computer, all right. So he had about 24 of us working for him, and he used to get a score of music and then said they want all the parts written out by tomorrow. So, and they have to write them on with India ink with an italic pen on sort of on see-through paper, like and if you made a mistake, you had to scrumple it up, start again. 90p a page, and I got to work on some quite big things. So Crime Watch. I wrote the music for Crime Watch. I didn't write the music; somebody else composed it, but I wrote the parts out for the recording, and that was an overnighter. And I worked with a guy called David Fanshawe, who wrote something called African Sanctus. People might know African Sanctus, and I was his copyist for a couple of weeks. I was writing all his stuff out, and then I worked on Les Miserables. And then Les Miserables was already out in London, but they had new versions springing up all around the world, and for some reason they wanted other parts. So I wrote the harp parts and the string parts and the keyboard parts, and an extra bassoon part for Tokyo. They wanted a third bassoon in Tokyo for Les Miserables.
Of course.
And then the following year, I wrote all the music out for Miss Saigon. So I was the only person working on Miss Saigon, because Bublin and Schoenberg, the songwriters, they can't write music at all. Can't read or write.
Really?
They used to record it into a little cassette. So I had sort of a cassette version of a sort of weird keyboard and some singing really bad singing. Actually, it was so out of tune. So I had to guess what notes they were trying to sing and work out all the bars and work all the bar lines. So I did the short score for Miss Saigon. It was about 100 pages of double piano and then the vocals. Wrote it all out in pencil and then gave it back. Of course, I should have kept a copy and claimed a percentage on that, because that would have been all right. But
Yeah, you've done all right. Yeah.
I was young and green and 21, didn't know what I was doing. So
It must have taken hours and hours to write that stuff out.
it was about 3 weeks constant work, day
Yeah.
and night, just listening to the cassette. So I had learned how to transcribe stuff. So listening carefully to all the piano notes and all whatever they're doing, and then the singing and writing it all out. And the guy who was doing it was John Cameron, who had written some wonderful arrangements, did a lot of TV stuff in those days, so I had to give it to him. But unfortunately, I think his wife died while he was doing it, and he couldn't finish it. And then it went to New York, and a guy called Bill Bron finished it off. But I had no idea whether they used my score or not after that. But George Bamford was this incredible guy, and him and his wife and his son used to run this copying business. And all these, I'd go on my bike, have this big pack on my back, cycle down, pick up the scores, cycle up to, I was living in Golders Green then, in a flat, and do that overnight, and then cycle down the hill and bring it in the morning.
Goodness me.
Sometimes I used to go to the session, the recording session, have to deliver it at the studio. So here you are, and there was the orchestra, we were all sitting there waiting, and here's your parts. Just written them out the previous night. And then I moved from that into sort of actually arranging stuff and not just the copying. So did a little bit of that.
And of course they had to be right, didn't they? I mean, there's no sort of margin of error in this, is there?
Yeah, you had to, I mean, I suppose there was error, but you had to really check your stuff to make sure. But I used to do it in the ink stuff was only certain jobs. Those sort of jobs would be pencil to make sure that I could rub it out.
Because you didn't have Sibelius in those days. The computer.
Oh dear, no! Yeah. It's all by hand, and I've got some of the old scores just in the shelves behind me.
Aaron says, "Have you heard of Procorder?"
Procorder they are a string group. They teach strings. I think a colleague of mine at St Paul's, Adrian Butterfield, either used to go to Procorder for his lessons or he was part of Procorder. Is it a youth strings group? If it is, then that was him, and he's now one of the best Baroque violinists in the world. He's called Adrian Butterfield, and he there you go. Yeah. So Aaron, you might have come across Adrian. Top bloke as well.
It's a very, very, very small world, and
can be.
I've noticed on Facebook. You know, you speak to somebody. I was only the other day. I was speaking to someone, and all of a sudden someone else's name pops up. Oh, I remember you. Yeah, I remember you. Good heavens, what are you doing? Where have you been? And it's just unbelievable. Yeah.
It's good. I like that. I like connections.
Aaron seems to think that Suffolk is the musical epicenter of the world.
Well, the Snape Maltings is a great place, and there are some very good schools in Ipswich who do great music. So he's not a million miles off. But I've never been involved in the Snape Maltings. Of course, Benjamin Britten set that up because that's where he had lived in, and but we never quite met him, but sang his stuff. So yes, so there we go. That was the early days, just doing a bit of bass guitar, sort of session work, just all bits and bobs really. That was all those early days in London, sort of singing in cathedrals, and then singing in cathedral in the afternoon, and then going to play in a club in the evening with a band.
Well, all
it's quite fun, really.
That transcription, I can vouch for your transcription work from the Milton Keynes songbook. It's an amazing piece of work that you put together with Marion.
With Marion, yeah, it was as I say, a real privilege to be asked to do that, and had to be very careful. And of course, the wonderful Kevin Adams was there. Sadly, lost him very, very recently, which is so sad. Yeah. Had a wonderful couple of days with him when I'd done the scores, and I took them along to him and I played the scores, and he'd say, "No, that's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. No, you got the wrong." Because there's different versions of the songs, and sometimes there'd be a cassette version or a CD version or something online or a live thing, and I'd choose what I think was probably it, and then because there's some incredible versions of the songs are scribbled on bits of paper and some chord things, and some of them are just like printed out words and recordings. So yes, useful skill to be able to write stuff down and then change it when Kevin told me that he wanted something different.
Yeah, amazing.
So yeah,
amazing stuff.
It was a good experience.
A wealth of music. I mean, there's so much stuff came out of the. I got involved in the Living Archive and Living Archive band in 1980, something like that, and and did I don't know how many productions we did. I don't know. I lost count because it was. Well, that'll be another story when I get to interview Roger Kitchen. And
when I'm listening to all that stuff, your voice crops up with pleasing regularity.
Yeah,
Brad.
That's very kind of you. No, it's
true.
It's always been something I enjoy singing. So it's just great to sing. It's great singing great songs. You can't. There's no question about it. You've given and this. Paul Clark, I thought, was a phenomenal writer, and Kevin Adams too. Just such a wonderful way of when you're given all that information, I suppose. But I couldn't do it. But I mean, and I'm not very prolific in songwriting. One every 15 years, I think I do. But when you're given all that information, background, you've got the whole thing about somebody's life, and then you're just writing it, and then you turn it into a song. And then you've got the music and then the words, and you can see those people that you're singing about. It's
Yes.
I've never met any of them apart from, well, some I did, but you form a picture of those people and their lives of that particular time. It's fantastic.
I think there's a special flavour of that because because they are real lives and real stories,
Mm.
and so, as you say, wonderfully written, and little snapshots of those. How Kevin would sort of read something up about an article or hear an interview with some guy who'd lived through both wars, and then he just takes, I know what to write about him. I'll write about the parapet. Sort of looking at the parapet, and he sort of, does he put his head above it or does he hide behind? And who are the heroes? Are they the ones back at home, or are they the one? There's all these things people talked about that you don't think about. There's the way people were perceived at home, and it's fascinating. All those little different angles, and people who fell in love. The Dick and Alma story is it's beautiful. It's fantastic. So I'm really loving doing it. We're halfway through book 2 now, so really loving doing it again, and finding out more. More of the songs.
There's some wonderful stories and wonderful songs. And I don't know how much more of that we've got left now. Whether people have got the wherewithal.
Still people writing about local things. I mean, my partner Laura, she's writing songs. She's written some lovely words about Stoney and about the modern life. And what things are like. So there's a few songs have come out of the Stoney Vault session, and there is some writing going on. Whether it'll make the Living Archive, I don't know. It's not quite that. Well, but we'll see.
Well, I think the thing with the Living Archive, it wasn't just about the songs. It was also about, it was about the community. The songs were written about the community, for the community, and the community played a part in it as well. The first.
Yes, and I love seeing the films. I think I saw a film of you a few months back of in a musical. Because there were shows, weren't they? That was the thing. You put shows on.
Oh yeah, they were full on documentary dramas. Yeah. And it was for the community. So you'd get people sitting in the audience who were singing about and talking about their lives or playing their lives on stage. And they're sitting there watching, and it's fascinating stuff. And as I say, it was a full blown musical documentary. Lovely stuff. Clive says he saw Muddy Waters at Snape Maltings.
Wasn't just classical stuff there then?
No, obviously not. No.
Yes.
Muddy Waters.
Probably a very good acoustic, I'd have thought.
Yeah. Speaking of which, is it time for another song?
Would you like a song?
I'd love one.
Okay, I've got another one. This isn't by me. You play the video later, but
there goes your earphones.
Put this back in. I've chosen this. There's a nice Yorkshire link to this because this is a band from Yorkshire called Hope and Social, who I've seen a couple of times at festivals and also at the Wavendon Stables, and I just love this tune. So I'm going to do this one. It's about making a home together, and it's called South Facing. Garden is facing the way the sun will hasten. It's all that we need now. Some bricks and mortar that will hold the water when it's pouring down. It's all that we need now. And a love that we will call our own. And a love we won't deny. And a love that we will call our own. And a love we won't deny. A house upon a hill, somewhere we'll live and wait until we're ready to move on. A window facing south, when we're lost we'll know where north is. Ready to move on. and a love that we will call our own, and a love we won't deny, and a love that we will call our own, and a love we won't deny. And if it's damp inside, we'll paint the walls and let the light in, make this house our home. And all that matters is out there where sunlight shatters all those moments of despair, and a love that we will call our own, and a love we won't deny, and a love that we will call our own, and a love we won't deny. Just plug back in.
There you go. Welcome back. Thank you. Thank you, Craig. That was lovely. Thank you. Who was it? Who wrote that one?
A band called Hope and Social. They're based in Yorkshire. They're great. They wear kind of really bright suits, and there's about 8 of them, and they sing a cappella, and they're a band, and they all play brass instruments too. So they come off the stage and do an 8-part sort of street brass group. So versatile, really entertaining, but lovely, mainly quite boisterous stuff, and community based. They use community choirs, and then lovely little ballads like that as well, which is, just struck home for me. I thought it was lovely tune. So there you go.
Really very nice. Aaron says he's only heard Brad sing 6 Little Ducks so far.
Okay.
It's actually 5 Little Ducks, if I can be pedantic.
Well, perhaps now you can write another verse, Brad, and put the 6th one in.
Yeah. Well, it's easy.
It could be the big hit for you. It's now time.
Well, no, I have actually written a couple of extra verses to There's a Worm at the Bottom of My Garden. Wiggly Woo. I wrote, because there's only one verse normally. There's a worm at the bottom of my garden, and his name is Wiggly Woo. Yeah, that's the one, yeah. I've written 2 more verses.
Hang on, does he wiggle all night, wiggle all day?
The neighbours all get a terrible fright.
And then day and night, yeah.
Boo. And that's... but I increased it to include a snake and a snail. The snake was called Slithery Sid, and the snail was called Slippery Stan.
Excellent.
Yeah, and that's that once in a 15-year songwriting thing I've just managed to do. Then.
Well, I've dabbled in a little bit of kids songwriting myself.
Did you? Oh, I know. Speaking of which, we move on to Moo Music.
Moo Music.
Yeah.
Well, Moo Music is a bit more recent, so we missed out a load. There's stuff to miss out. I love Moo Music.
Well, we can always go back. You don't have to. We can.
Well, people want to go and get their dinner soon, don't they?
Dinner this time of night? We think this is Spain.
Moo Music, yeah. So a friend of mine called Ant always said to me, can you write some kiddie songs for us? Because we want to do this franchise. Not really a franchise, it's more of a sort of licensing thing for preschool music sessions. Because there's quite a lot of that sort of thing out there. But I think he thought the ones that were out there are a little bit dated. Oh, there we found it. Excellent. Moo Music. Well, there's some... Yeah, so I've written 125 songs. And I wrote 5 albums of 25 songs each, and they're all being done up and down the country. In fact, all around the world. There's a whole lot of people in Australia who do it, and there's Maggie Moo, Henry Horse, Ollie Oink, that's the pig, and Barry Barr. Barry Barr loves playing the piano. They're a band.
He
They
looks
live
a-
on a farm, obviously, and
He
they're
looks a bit
band.
sheepish to me, that Barry Barr one.
He does. Hey, Henry Horse plays the banjo, not as well as Andy Powell, of course, but he does play the banjo. Not quite sure how he does it with his hooves, but there you go. Doris Duck, she plays the bass, and that's Ollie Oink, the pig. He's the lead singer, but he's always on a pogo stick for some reason. Not quite sure why. There's a sort of backstory to these animals. I wish they could become a TV thing. It'd be great. But there's all these songs, songs about dinosaurs that like Marmite sandwiches, things like that. Silly stuff. Silly stuff and things that kids might want to sing about.
Yeah, it's lovely.
So, there you go. Jumping up and down, turning around, animals, farms, transport, you name it. Right, I think you have I. Oh,
what are you doing? What happened?
I'm missing you there. I think we've had
Did you?
to.
I'm
I
I'm
froze
still.
for a bit there.
I'm still here. You're still there.
Good.
Can you still see me?
I can see you.
So I'm.
Yes, there's one about hide and seek as well.
Aaron saw Tom
We're
Robinson
still on Snape Maltings.
and Tommy Mann. Yeah, I'm going because the messages are scrolling down so fast. I haven't managed to keep up with them. Chris was just telling Aaron about the Living Archive. He just put all that stuff down like that, which we don't need to know. But yeah, Aaron's
some-
never
some
heard of it
important
before.
stuff.
What else have we got? Muted. Who's muted? Mooted. I don't get it. Mooted. Oops. Oh, it's you. It wasn't us.
Mooted. Oh, mooted.
Oh, yeah, very good.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was his Bluetooth. All right, mooted.
Phew, you had me panicking then. Right.
Yes.
So that was Moo Music, and we may come back to that at some point as well. But moving on, because doesn't time fly when you're having fun? Do you know it's 26
It
minutes
does.
past 8?
I know.
An hour. Hang on, I've got all fuzzy. An hour has almost absolutely flown past, isn't it?
It has. It's been fun.
Yeah, and you were a little bit anxious, weren't you?
Oh, I don't know. Yes, a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm quite sure. I don't not often talk about myself. Really.
No, I know it's
Perhaps
funny,
I
isn't
do,
it?
Perhaps I do.
It's only 3:26 here. Is that in the morning or in the afternoon? What are you?
3:26.
Oh, in the afternoon. Yeah, New York. Of course it
Yes.
is. Yeah, yeah.
If it's the morning, he'll be in trouble tomorrow.
Yes.
And he'll be having nightmares. There you go.
So we've gone on from York, and you're doing lots of transcribing and stuff.
Yes.
Still haven't got a proper job.
Well, it's all been freelance music, really. I don't think I ever had a proper job.
Brilliant. I love it.
So freelance musicking and sort of whatever came up, say the copying, bass guitaring, and that was the next thing. So the next thing was the Fat and Frantic thing, because it was full time for about part time for 3 years and then full time for 2 years.
Shall we play Fat and Frantic now? Might as
Can,
well.
if you like.
Here we go. Here's Fat and Frantic.
Oh, I hungry, I thirsty.
You don't want that one, oh, do you?
That was this year. That's do you want the 1990 version
Hey,
first?
let's go back first. Yeah, here we go.
Never hoovered my head last night. My wife hoovered my head last night. My wife hoovered my head. While I go around the house hoovering about, my wife got the hoover and my hair fell out last night. My wife hoovered my head. Well, Santa was a man who was very, very strong. When he got married, he knew wasn't long. He said to himself, I'm gonna be dead. The great Delilah hoovered my head last night. My wife hoovered my head. She did last night. My wife hoovered my head. Was going around the house hoovering about. My wife got the hoover and my hair fell out last night. My wife hoovered my head. People say it's easy, but it ain't no bitch when you're cleaning up the places where the lead won't reach. Getting in the corner is a bit of a dog. Get the hoover in the kitchen and the plugs in the board. Household chores are becoming the drag, so unplug the hoover and change your bag. Well, rename us, we're all completely wrong. They all got their hoovered on the day that they were called. They prophesied to the children about justice, peace, and love, and they kept their heads real shining with that hoover from above. I'm well aware that I don't have a book named after me, but I know that I've been hoovered, so a prophet's what I'll be. Gonna prophesy here, prophesy there. I know that I'm a prophet 'cause I got no hair. Last night, my wife hoovered my head. Well, now that I'm a prophet, I'm gonna be frank. I'm not exactly laughing all the way to the bank, but I go everywhere with a feel of dread. Since my wife hoovered my head last night, my wife hoovered my head. She did last night, my wife hoovered my head. Was going around the house, hoovering about. My wife got the hoover around my head right out last night. My wife hoovered my head. Yes, well, my fun, vacuum in my head. Oh, yes, well, my fun, vacuum in my head. Je prends moi avec le vacuum. Ma femme la saisie et ma tête a éclaté. Yes, well, my fun, vacuum in my head. What more last night? My wife hoovered my head. She did last night. My wife hoovered my head. I was going around the house, hoovering about. My wife got the hoover in my head, but out last night. My wife hoovered my head.
Yes, that was that was exciting, wasn't it?
Do you spot the story? We got eaten by a giant bother hoover. So we get hassled by a gang of bother hoovers, and then we get eaten by a giant one, and we play the rest of the gig inside the hoover bag.
Right.
That's kind of how it worked. Not quite sure who the lady with the dress on was, but that was. Did you see the Madness tribute?
Yes.
In the middle of that.
Mm-hmm.
So the two guys of Madness, Chris and Lee, the guitarist and the saxophone player, they're the Nutty Boys, and they directed that video for us. So they were there and they directed, and they said, "This is the hairdresser where we did the shot of the thing." I said, "Can I do that?" So I said, "Yes, you can do I asked them permission to do the picture behind the thing showing the haircut.
Yeah.
Which is what they did on the Madness video. So it's a little quote. But yes, Brian Setzer, Stray Cats. We did a gig. We supported Squeeze once at some gig somewhere, and we had to have a horn section playing with us on that day. They said you can support Squeeze, but only if you've got a horn section. It was some jumped up ball. But yeah, we got around. We nearly did a massive tour and with Amy Grant in the States and a 3-album deal with Geffen, but it all fell through.
Oh.
So
life
would have been a bit different if that had gone. What is that song about? It's a true story. So Jim, the lead singer, his wife gave him a really bad haircut, and it was so bad that there was hair everywhere. So she actually hoovered his head that night, and then he goes on about bald people being prophetic or something because he likes tying things up with history and stuff, and he likes his biblical stories. So there's a wonderful story about some people who taunt somebody in the Old Testament, and some bears come out of a wood and maul them, and he did a song about that. It's true. A load of bears come out and maul people. There was a very fun band to be in, and we were very eclectic. It wasn't just that sort of skiffly stuff. It was some slower ones, songs about Africa. Hoover, yeah, Hoover. It's a kind of a vacuum, Aaron. We said hoovered as a verb, but it's not really because it's a trade name, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's hard to explain.
It doesn't vacuum to my head. Doesn't sound as good, does it?
No, it doesn't. And did you get the French verse as well? I mean, any excuse. So, Born to be a Brownie. That was another one. Train Spotter. I wish I was a train spotter.
Brian. That was a popular one, wasn't it?
Brian, a very popular one. Brian, and
yeah,
we did Brian.
Hang on. I've got to stand up because my leg has just gone to sleep.
Will you do that?
No, hang on. I'm going to sit down again now. I'll just play a bit of Brian. There we go.
Oh, this is live. This is live on Radio 1.
Is it?
In front of 20,000 people at Greenbelt Festival, yes.
Greenbelt.
Not our finest moment. That's me, would you believe it? With glasses. This is our dramatic beginning, which doesn't sound great with one trumpet and a washboard. But Silas is in the cupboard, and he's coming out of the cupboard and starts singing Brian.
Brian is a man who went down in history. It kept on going down. Oh, what a mystery. Now it's never gone.
Now we're indoors at the Town and Country. The film is of 3 different gigs actually. That's at the Marquee. No, that's not. That's Greenbelt. That's 20,000 people. Probably our biggest crowd. Very easy chorus to pick up because the words of the chorus were Brian. That was the words of the chorus. People liked it because they could sing along without having lyrics. And colourful outfits. And it's quite pacey. I think we had to catch the bus home, so we had to play very fast. And a very loyal following, which some people still follow us on Facebook, which is very heartwarming, very heartening. We did a bit of a busk 2 years ago for a charity in Winchester, where one of us lives.
Yeah.
And we had about 100 people came and stood outside this shop, all with their old T-shirts on and other signed jackets from like 30 years before. So
goodness me.
So touching and a bit weird, but mainly touching. No, mainly weird and touching. And we're going to do it again next year. I think with the rumours of doing something in the square at Stony.
Well,
once the lockdown finishes.
Here's the new version. Here's the new lot.
Same guys, just a lot less hair.
Tell me what you need.
Well, I don't want to watch you ironing. That's what I want, Nigel.
Well, the road I'm on is made of dust that's getting in my eyes. The bread I have is old and hard and never satisfies. The bottle I've been drinking from's as dry as any bone. But there's someone walking with me and he won't leave me alone. And he's saying, whoa, are you hungry, are you thirsty? Whoa, won't you tell me what you need? Oh, are you hungry, are you thirsty? Tell me what you need. Well, I guess that I've been walking for a year or 2 or more, but I always get the feeling that I walked this way before. And the more I walk, the more I like the things I hear him say. Says that I can reach my destination later on today. And he's saying, whoa.
Yeah, look, he caught you. That great big glass of vodka you just downed.
Got me on the water there. Water.
Well, yes, of course.
Yeah, so they're lovely bunch of guys, lovely lads, and some of my best friends in my life, and they'll stay forever. So there are rumours of new stuff. So we did that obviously during this year, and we didn't meet. They just sent me bits and edited it on the Logic here and did a silly video of stuff. There's a lovely bit where Fat later on he chucks his mandolin up in the sky, and it's all just, and you see them. He chucks it up, and the mandolin just sort of like appears out of nowhere and then goes back down again. It's rather nice. Very creative chaps, and barking, all of them. Yeah, but there you go.
But I mean, you look like you're having a good time. You look like you'd had a good time in the old days as well. And
I did actually.
And Aaron has said, "What's your best groupie story?"
No, we didn't have. We were so clean cut and nice. We didn't live like. It wasn't like that. It was so alternative. We were very alternative. You know. So we used to. We did things like we used to go to a gig, and then in the tube on the way to the gig, we'd see a band busking. So we'd be playing at the Town and Country or the Astoria, which never isn't there anymore. And we've met this amazing band called the Lost T-Shirts of Atlantis.
Oh yes,
and they were
them. Remember them?
You know, they were much more hardcore than us. They were proper skifflers. So they had the broomstick bass, they had the a guitar made out of like wires, an orange box on his, and he had a proper little tin quiff, and they were massive jackboots, and they were brilliant guys, and they supported us for a couple of years. They became our support act. So the week after we met them on the Tube, they were playing on the stage at Astoria, and of course the fans loved them. Do you remember the Lost T-shirts of Atlantis?
I remember the name, and let me just have a look.
Honestly, I'm just remembered them, and I didn't haven't Googled them for many years. But there was a lovely band called the Woebegone Brothers as well, and we just loved having sort of really alternative people. Gosh, no groupie stories. There was an amazing bloke called Boz who used to walk to every gig we did. He'd either hitch or walk, and he came to like hundreds of gigs. And and I met him a couple of years ago. He came to one of our busking things, and still has his old T-shirt.
There you go. There's the.
Is that them there?
That's them there. Yeah, the Lost T-shirt.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah,
the three of them. That's the broomstick bass. There you go.
Yeah,
Sounded brilliant.
So it's an old tin bath type thing, isn't it? Looks
tin bath, proper old broomstick bass on the upturned orange crate. Fantastic, and they looked and sounded awesome.
Yeah,
and we met them in the Tube.
Great stuff.
So there you go. There's no sexy stories, I'm afraid. Just silly stuff.
Yeah, sorry to disappoint you there, Aaron. You must tell us all your groupie stories one day.
Yeah.
Being a good-looking guy that you are. And it's okay because you're in New York now, so nobody's going to worry about it.
Yes, but I'll be checking out your interview tomorrow, Aaron.
Yeah,
I know.
It's really interesting. It's nice
I missed it.
Enjoyed doing it. And Clive's as well was a really good interview. I like.
Yeah, I love seeing Clive's.
So we've covered
wonderful instruments.
Yeah. We've covered. We've gone to Mew Music, and perhaps we should look at Young Voices now.
Okay, very briefly. So the last 20 years has been filled with young voices mainly, and a few other wonderful things like community choirs and that sort of thing. But the Young Voices has been my mainstay, I suppose, for a good while.
What actually is it?
Sorry?
What actually is Young Voices for people who don't know?
So, Young Voices basically is the end product is an arena show with lots of school choirs. So the schools are aged 8 to 13, so they're kind of years 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from primary schools, and they have a fantastic sense of occasion when they come to the gigs. So they're the stars of the show. We turn the arenas around, so if you're at the O2, the curvy bit, that's where the choir are sitting. And
there it goes.
Pull that out. And we're the band, we're on stage, and then the parents will come and sit down there. And we have dancers and we have guest artists, and it's about an hour and 3/4 show. And it's a proper arena show now with lights and effects and proper sound engineers and everything. And it's actually this year would be its 25th year. So I wasn't around for the first 5 years, but I've done 20. So
okay, but Gareth, who's a friend of mine, just said, Young Voices is just incredible for the children and adults alike. Simply wonderful. And big thanks to Craig and everyone.
Oh, good. Oh, thank you, Gareth. I gather your son has been in it, or was in it, or is in it, about to be in it, or has been in it before.
Yeah, that's what I'm led to believe.
So I do keep meeting people who my kids went to that. Oh, well, they did it like 15 years ago. So their kids are now growing up. So we're beginning to meet people whose parents went to it. I mean, it's going to happen. But I'd like to do it as long as possible. And of course, we're
his son and his daughter in it.
Oh, fantastic! Well, that's basically it. You come and you see that it's a full show, and then the kids' choir are there, and then I think you've got a little snippet, haven't you, of Tom Billington singing something with the kids, and it just gives you a sort of idea, almost an idea of the scale of it, the scope. Not quite, but it gives you what's possible. You can do anything really.
So do they build up for this one thing in their various schools and stuff?
Gosh, they get a pack about 8 months before the gig. They get a pack in about May, June time, which is the full sheet music with a CD. I produced a CD with all the backing tracks and demonstration tracks and some notes about how to learn it and notes for the teachers, and we'd have teachers' workshops. So it's quite a big build-up over the year. And all the different schools send different numbers, and they sort of slot them in like a jigsaw. So you might get 150 from one school, and you might get like 30 from another school. And they all meet together, and they all make one big choir on the day.
Fantastic.
They've all hopefully learnt the same stuff.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
That's wonderful, isn't it?
Well, it isn't this year because
No, because it didn't happen. No.
I mean, until we can get 20,000 people sitting next to each other safely, it's not going to happen again, unfortunately.
Gareth said that
So-
last year, or whenever the last one was, Tony Hadley appeared in the middle of the crowd last year
Yes.
and
he
made
did.
all the middle-aged women weak at the knees.
Not just the women either, so I gather.
Yeah.
But anyway, there you go.
Wait.
No,
it's a-
he worked the crowd very well. He's superb, Tony. I
Yeah.
have to say, he's really great with the kids too, and a fantastic ambassador for Young Voices.
Well, Gareth says it's a real occasion. Love practicing with the kids, singing in the car. So yeah, it's great, lovely.
Yes, that's part of it too. The parents have to listen to these songs about 500 times, I think, before the concert, and maybe some after that as well.
Well, let's have a
We
look.
try and make the songs as catchy as possible. We try and give the kids stuff they want to sing.
Yeah.
Like we would be doing a Muppet medley this year, but that's going to be next year now.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, you know.
Well, here's the one of the ones that we got, which is this is Tom Billington leading the choir, but
wonderful
you'll get
Tom.
some idea of the size of this. This is unbelievable.
I heard you on the wireless back in 52, lying awake content and tuning in on you. If I was young, it didn't stop you coming through. They took the credit for your second symphony, rewritten by machine on new technology, and now I understand the problem you can see. Sing it! I met your children. What did you tell them? Video killed the radio star. Video killed the radio star. Well, pictures came and broke your heart. Here we go. And now we meet in an abandoned studio. I hear the playback and it seems so all alone. And I remember the jingle used to go, come on. You were the first one. Oh, you were the last one. Video killed the radio star. Video killed the radio star. Well, in my mind and in my car, we can't rewind. We've gone too far. Hit it. Ho. Are you ready, kids? Here we go. Again. Hey! Video killed the radio star. Video killed the radio star. Well, in my mind and in my car, we can't rewind. We've gone too far. Pictures came and broke your heart. Put all the blame on VCR. 1, 2, 3. You are the radio star. On your own. Yeah, here we go. Jump, jump. Video killed the radio star. Video killed the radio star. Video killed the radio star. Video killed the radio. You
That's quite something. That was quite. Sorry, I turned the mics off. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so it's a bit emotional seeing that because we're missing it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Yeah, that's what Gareth was saying. Goosebumps, he says during that. He says not keen on Andy in the dancing though, but very funny. Craig will understand.
Yeah. Kids love him though, so that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So yeah, we normally do about 25, 26 dates. That's one at the O2. So there'll be 8,000 children in that choir, and different children every night for 25 nights. Wow. And unfortunately, you didn't see me there, which is a shame because I wanted to, I'm the MD. I write all the music. I direct the band, but I'm not in the shot. I'm on the left hand side because I'm sort of off on the side near the drummer. I have to look across the stage to direct everyone. So
always
conductor David, he conducts the choir only. I don't in the band.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Maybe one day. I've got my plans.
Look, I tell you, fame is not that good. I can assure you, it's not that good.
No, well, there you go. But I mean, the point is that I'm doing the job I've always done, which is to write the stuff, choose the music, make it appropriate for the kids, do the pack. I've got this sneak preview. Here's the pack, Gareth, for this if you want it. That's this year's one we're not doing. Hang on, hold it there. That's the. But the schools have it. But they can't do it yet because they're not meeting. So it's all
next year will be great.
Yes, let's hope. So January, February. Keep your fingers crossed, everybody. January, February next year.
I'm sure it'll be absolutely wonderful.
And yes. So
this takes us on now. Sorry, guys, you can say something about.
I'll just make do with online stuff for now.
Yeah,
it's all virtual, isn't it?
And it's not too bad, is it? Because it gives us a chance to do silly things like this. I mean, I love this because I'm hearing about people I know, but I don't know, if you know what I mean. And this is lovely. And also the online stuff that Aaron does every week, and he not only does a live session every Sunday, but he also does reviews of gear. He talks about Martin guitars and stuff. And there's loads of I hardly watch TV. I'm spending most of my time watching interesting stuff on YouTube, I think, because there's so much interesting stuff.
Yeah, cool.
Which we're moving on now to the MK choir, and I'll just show Milton Keynes Community Choir. Let's see if I've got let's pop that up there, see if that comes up. There you go.
There we are, one of our Christmas concerts. So we've been going since about 2008 now, and a wonderful bunch of people. And again, it's making sure everyone has as much fun as possible, singing as many different types of music. So you're arranging everything from early music to pop and jazz and songs from the shows and world songs. All sorts, just really varied, and I say have as much fun as possible. But we had to cancel a couple of concerts, but we did them online, and we've been doing. We've got another one actually. So if, I'm plugging something here. Our next gig is the 30th of March. Are you able? I froze again there.
No, you're fine.
30th of March, we're doing a gig with. Now this is a good link up because you just saw Tom Billington, and one of the things Tom Billington does is lead Electric Umbrella, which is like Chicken Shed for music. So it's anybody with any ability or disability you can think of, no barriers, and everyone's in it together. And we have professionals and singers, and it's they do a thing called the Big Yellow Choir. So we're doing a joint concert online with Milton Keynes Community Choir and the Big Yellow Choir from Electric Umbrella on the 30th of March. So watch your Facebook feeds, people.
Yeah, if you let me know the link and everything for it, I'll put it.
I will indeed. Yes.
Put it down later on. Yeah, that's. Aaron says that he'd rather play online than in a pub now.
It's getting used to it.
Yeah, well, I suppose.
Well, let's hope we don't get too used to it.
Yeah, 6-hour concerts. I don't know about that. I'm not surprised. No, it wasn't. Yeah, exactly. 3-hour concerts, whatever.
I think I like the sort of interaction with an audience and interaction with other musicians. So that's what I miss.
Yeah.
Hearing harmonies in the same room and all that business. Be very good to get back to it.
Have you? Because I know you're telling me that you do enjoy your cycling.
Yes, I love a bit of cycling.
Have you managed to get out and cycle during the lockdown much?
I did in September. I did a month, as many miles as I could in a month for cancer research.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a good excuse to get out there. I think I was a little fitter then. Did a bit less over the winter. Don't like the icy roads because I tend to fall off.
Yeah.
And so I did get I bought a trainer one of those indoor trainer things where you stick the bike on a stand and
pedal up.
You've got a speedometer and you can watch what you're doing on a cartoon on my iPad. So I've done that a bit recently. It was in the box for a long time, but I got it out a few weeks ago, and I've done a few miles, and my knees hurt. But at least I'm getting some exercise.
Yeah, I got one of those treadmills, and
oh right,
for walking, because I used to run a fair bit,
the
but
equivalent
I don't run anymore, and because I can't. But I got it. No, exactly. No, I do miss it, but I got this so I could do some good walks, and but then I developed sciatica, so I can't do anything at the moment. It's killing me. Oh, you wouldn't believe it. I'm very rarely without pain, as you know, but I don't like to talk about it.
No.
But
good job nobody's watching.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but this is it's bloody awful. I've never really experienced anything so painful as this sciatica stuff.
Oh well, I hope
yeah.
not.
Yeah,
no.
no.
Get out of it quick.
So do I, so I can get back walking again.
Yes.
Right. Well, I think it's nearly an hour and a half we've been on here.
Wow. Lovely. Hardly scratched the surface.
I know. We haven't got anywhere, have we? I'm just going
to. I'm very old. So I'm just making me feel old because I've got so much life to sort of remember, look back on, and forget.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I
really appreciate it.
Hopefully, you've enjoyed that feeling of looking back and nostalgia and recovering some of your past efforts and stuff. Because
I have actually.
Because I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Oh, hang on.
Do you want to finish with one more song?
Yes, please. I'll before you do us a song.
I'm not going to do it live.
Oh, we're going to do that.
No, I'm going to ask you to play that recording of me when I was 11.
Oh yeah.
Because you keep talking about nostalgia. So let's finish right back at the beginning.
Okay. All right. That's a very good place to start. Here we go.
A bit of Vaughan Williams. Will you say goodbye before that, or what do we do?
No, we'll say goodbye after that. Just it's bearing in mind this is there you go. Wow. Indeed, Chris. Wow. Chris says wow.
What did you say?
Chris says wow.
Yeah. So that's the sound that stays with me for my life. That choir and that acoustic and the harmonies, and that's a bit of Vaughan Williams, but there's all that sort of it's a rich world of sound, and there's people doing that sort of music up and down around the world, up and down the country all the time now. Not so much obviously with the pandemic. So people have lost their jobs and choirs are decimated. So we really hope we can get back to do that thing, because we don't want to lose that. We don't want to lose that.
Goodness, no, that's all.
But thank you for playing that, because that's
No,
yes, that was
pleasure.
me aged 11.
It's lovely. Well, I think we've that's a fitting end to the evening. I think. Hope everyone's enjoyed it. I think everyone has.
I hope so.
What Aaron says, it was a very interesting show. Yes, it was, and it'd be nice if you could pass it on to your friends, and so they can watch it on catch up. I think there's been a bit of a glitch on Facebook, whereas you can't make any comments. Whereas all these comments you see on here are all from YouTube.
Okay.
And I think it's something to do with my settings in Facebook. Not
Yes.
allowing.
Somebody's
not
told me they couldn't. They couldn't.
They
get
couldn't
into
post
Facebook.
it. They couldn't post
They
to it.
couldn't even get in. Couldn't even.
Oh no, because
So they
no.
watched it on YouTube.
yeah, Gareth was watching it on Facebook, so
Yeah.
you could get in
Okay.
eventually.
So what's happening? There you go.
But that's one of those things. But
Hello.
hello, good evening, and welcome. But thanks
Hello,
ever so
must
much,
be going.
everybody. Chris says thanks and goodbye. Yes, thanks and goodbye to you too, Chris. And
Well,
thanks and goodbye, everybody else. I'm going to just do this. Say once again,
thank you for asking. Thank you very much. Thanks, Brad.
thank you, Craig. It's
And,
been a real
Look
pleasure.
forward to the rest of the series.
Yeah.
Looking forward to who else you're going to get. Be wonderful.
Before I've got to do one of those. Thanks, Craig. You should always remember the early music of the local church. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You can't. There's.
It stays with you.
It certainly
It
does.
certainly does.
All right. All the best.
Lovely. Take care.